I call them churn and burn shops, where they're just cranking out as many 1040s and business returns as they can. But that's the problem, right? If you have all these returns you got to get done, you don't have time to do the other stuff that's actually valuable to the client. I mean, quite frankly, compliance, while it's necessary, isn't where you actually can help someone.
You have found Authentic Business Adventures, the business program that brings you the struggle stories and triumphant successes of business owners across the land. Downloadable audio episodes can be found in the podcast link found at drawincustomers.com. And today we're welcoming / preparing to learn from Mike Kolath. And I'd love to list all the companies you got going on, Mike, but I think it's better that you do. So first we got the Palladium.
Yep, Palladium Tax Advisory.
All right.
A new CPA firm that I started about 3 months ago.
Oh, nice.
And then there's Sustainable HR PEO, which is a professional employer organization, which we can talk about later. Sustainable HR Recruiting, which we just started to do basically headhunting. And then we have Banana VoIP, which is a VoIP company.
Nice. All right.
So
perfect for a show about entrepreneurs and all that jazz.
Certainly.
So let's just go back. First time you started your business, which business was the first one?
Okay, so the first one was a small used clothing children's store.
Used
online.
Children's clothing.
Used children's clothing, yes.
All right, tell me about
online. So we bought that company, my ex-wife and I did.
Okay.
So we got lots of children's clothes in the basement, and so we were just doing it online. And then eventually I figured out it's really hard to make money selling children's clothes online. And it's a pain in the butt to ship and do all that fun stuff.
Were you selling eBay or where?
No, it was just online.
Your platform was your online store?
Yep.
And somebody else had it and you bought it?
Yep.
Tell me what made you decide to get in that industry?
Well, I had always wanted to be an entrepreneur. And why that industry? It was there.
So is this someone you knew or anything like that?
Nope, we just found it. I can't remember exactly how we found it, but maybe it was a friend of a friend or something like that.
All right.
And so yeah, that lasted maybe a year, and then we made a large donation of used children's clothing to Goodwill.
Just closed up.
Just closed up.
Out of there.
Too much work, and the cost benefit wasn't there as an accountant.
So when you bought it, how tough was it? Like you paid something for it. So was it basically an asset purchase?
Yeah.
Or was there?
Correct. No, it was just basically bought a bunch of clothing.
Okay.
And the website.
All right.
The website.
And whose idea was it? Was it yours or your ex-wife or wife?
It was more mine.
Okay.
Yeah, and I had always been interested in entrepreneurship. We were looking to buy a business. We almost bought a nursery that was out in Fitchburg.
You're talking tree nursery?
Yeah, tree nursery.
Wow.
Basically flowers and trees and bushes and that kind of stuff. So we almost bought a travel agency just before 9/11.
Oh, dodged the bullet there.
Yes. Yeah, so we were looking for a long time.
All right.
And so, unfortunately or fortunately, used children's clothing. I did learn a lot from the standpoint of I didn't want to do that. And it's hard to do the marketing for that online.
I bet.
Especially back then. I mean, that was that 90s or 2000s? Early 2000s, I think.
Oh, so you're talking internet was pretty infant, right?
Yeah, pretty infant. So lessons learned.
All right. And were you coding? Because the website.
No, the website was all set up. We would upload pictures of the clothing to the website.
Because you're talking just for the kids at home that maybe don't understand what dial-up is.
Oh, sure, yes.
56K modems.
Yep.
I mean, if somebody went to a web page and it had 500 pictures on there, you're going to click and then
you're
go
gonna wait for a while.
make a sandwich and come back.
Yep, exactly. But other than that, the whole website was set up, so we didn't have to worry about that stuff.
All right.
But
so is the domain still out there? Someone's got it?
I don't know. I haven't looked for a while, to be honest. It could be, for all I know.
Funny.
But
all right, so you shifted gears. You're like, all right, donate some clothes. Yep. What's next step?
And I was fully employed at that time. I worked at a couple of CPA firms. Then I actually went to work for an insurance company. And my next foray into entrepreneurship was starting the CPA firm because I got fired.
Oh, you got fired from a CPA firm?
No, laid off from the insurance company.
Oh.
They got bought out by another company in Birmingham, Alabama.
All right.
And I wasn't moving to Birmingham, Alabama.
No, I don't blame you.
So had to figure out what I was going to do with my life.
All right.
At that point. So I actually had a job lined up, ready to go. And then my ex-wife at the time said, well, why don't you start a business? And I'm like, oh, I didn't know this was, I told you before, my daughter was like a year and a half when that happened. And my ex-wife wasn't working much at that point because home with the kid a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I ended up starting the CPA firm because I enjoyed working with clients and liked doing tax accounting type work. And so that was the start of Colath and Associates CPA.
Dang. So when you first started Colath, it was you or did you?
It was me, myself, and I.
All right.
Working out of my house to start. No clients, although luckily my ex-employer hired me on as a consultant.
Oh, well, that's something.
That was a good start. And then CUNA Mutual became a client shortly after that.
That helped launch, I imagine?
That helped launch, provided some cash flow. But I'll never forget my first day of owning the firm and getting things going. I watched the Food Network the entire day.
Is that phone ringing yet?
And I'm like, this is probably not a good way to start a business.
No,
so
not for a long term.
Yeah, pounding the phones and networking with people and all that fun stuff. And I did have some work to do with my ex-employer too.
How long did it take to get going from Food Network watching to actual being what you would consider to be a legitimate money-making business?
Yep. Well, I hired my first person within 3 months. I had gotten a pretty big client.
Nice.
Yep. And then I hired a second person, I think it was within the year, and then it was off to the races. So,
all right.
Profitability. Not,
sure. Yeah.
Up and down,
cash flow, right?
We definitely were making money at that point.
Okay.
And so within, what was it? 2 years? Year and a half? No, end of 2008, because I started in March of 2007. End of 2008, we ended up buying another company, another CPA firm.
Did they have a rough day with the whole 2008 crash?
No.
That helped, or it was
it didn't.
Not related.
It didn't really seem to impact clients that much.
Okay.
No, he was retiring.
Oh, well, that's all right, too.
The owner and his son and his wife were the three people in the firm.
All right.
So that doubled the size of the company at that point. Brought on, the old owner was retiring. Sad story, he passed away within a month of selling it.
No.
Yep, heart attack, shoveling.
Wow.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
That was freaking me out.
So don't sell your business?
No, don't sell your business apparently.
Or sell it when you're young, or don't
Yes.
shovel? What did you learn?
All three.
Okay.
But yeah, luckily his son stayed on, and all the clients stayed on. So
all right.
Because when you buy those the clients, it's a little scary when the main person, because he was going to help during tax season for us.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so it was.
So then you got a rough conversation with all the clients that you're like, hey, funny story.
Yeah.
I'm your guy. What happened to the old guy? Ah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was an interesting way to go. But that got us. We grew to like 7 people, I think, at that point.
That's all
so
right.
we're starting to move. I think those are the toughest times when you're between 5 and like 15 people.
Yeah.
It's just the growth and scaling is very hard.
That's
very
because you lose one person.
Yeah.
And that's a measurable percent.
Yep.
Of your crew. And if you add people, that's a measurable percent you have to come up with payroll.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. It's hard to hire people at that level.
So it's I'm right there. So it's a challenging roller coaster, I guess. Time.
That's exactly right. So then we continued to grow organically. That's actually around when outsourced accounting started to take off as something that firms were offering and clients were interested in. It wasn't real popular before that, and this was like 2010.
So when you say outsourced accounting, you mean bigger companies?
Basically, no, generally smaller companies.
Okay.
I'd say under $5 million in revenue.
Okay.
And basically you outsource the bookkeeping to an accounting firm.
So what would they normally do? Have somebody on staff?
So some of them were doing outsourcing, but most people had someone on staff.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
And so basically what we would do is we would look at what they're doing, peel off the true administrative stuff like answering phones, making deposits, those kinds of things. And then we would just come in once a week, twice a week, depending on the size of the client, and do all their accounting,
All right.
pay the bills, and
this is back when you said come in. You mean literally?
yeah,
come in.
physically going on site. Most of our clients were like that prior to COVID.
All right.
But yeah, so that part of the business took off like crazy at that point, and those tend to be larger clients too.
All right.
From a billing standpoint, it's the equivalent of like 10 or 15, 20 tax returns.
Yeah.
And so that actually ended up being, before we sold it, it was probably 60+% of our revenue.
All right.
And tax was maybe 25, and then we did a lot of payroll too.
Sure.
So yeah, over the time we did, I think, one more acquisition in that time frame.
Oh, you bought another accounting firm?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, bought another accounting firm, but then the rest was organic growth.
Wow.
The acquisition, no, sorry, two accounting firms.
Okay.
Actually, now that I think about it, 3 other accounting firms.
That's how you know you're an entrepreneur, right?
know,
You're like, how many businesses?
I don't know. 2 of them demerged later, so that's why I wasn't
All right.
thinking them being.
No, it's
part
funny.
of the
You remind me
acquisition.
of this whole, what's the thing where they want you to, the FinCEN thing?
Oh yeah,
And I had to think, like, I don't know what's going on with that now, but
it's been suspended again.
it's one of those things where I'm like, how many LLCs? Like, I gotta look.
Yes, I
I
know.
really gotta look.
I've been postponing it. I haven't done them yet.
I mean, we don't have to run down that road because I don't know what's going to happen with it. But it's one of those things where I'm just like, that's kind of funny. That
Yeah.
if somebody said, how many LLCs you have,
Yeah, I'd have to think about that too.
I'd have to be like, boo, I gotta dig a little bit.
4? Probably 4.
Yeah, I mean, so
Yeah.
it's just kind of funny. How many businesses have you bought and sold? I don't know, some. It's like asking somebody how many candy bars they've had. Like, I don't know, probably more than they should. Yeah.
It's but anyway, so we kept growing over time. We're up to about 45 people and
45 employees.
yeah,
Holy
about,
cow.
a little over 5 million in revenue
All right.
at the time.
That's
And,
cool. I imagine that's cool.
Oh, it was great.
Or is
yeah.
that a lot of headache?
No, so I didn't have to do a lot of client work, so I got to start shifting out of that and doing more of the admin and strategic stuff for the firm. So that part of it was really nice. And we had an HR department, and we had plenty of stuff that people that could take care of the
Yeah.
more things that I didn't like doing. Let's
All
put
right.
it that way.
Fair.
So yeah, and then brought on a partner, probably 10 years ago. We had 2 partners in the firm. One's in Sauk, and then the other one was in Madison here. So had some support there too. It was nice to have other owners with that level of commitment and responsibility. But yeah, so the handling, once we got past, like, I'd say 25 people, that's when it could really feel like we were able to do documentation around processes and all that fun stuff. We were able to put together an internship program.
All right.
Before that, you just don't have the time with the number of people that we had. So we could have people dedicated to training the interns and having
All
them
right.
come on, which really helped us with our tax season staffing.
All right.
And now it's actually the main source of new employees for the firm.
Nice.
So
you reached cruising altitude at around that 25 employees.
yeah, 25 was right around there. I mean, I was still involved, but yeah, by the end, I was probably working 5 to 10 hours a week at most on clients, and the rest of it was, and I, had to work 50, 60, 70 hours a week before that.
All right.
And
So
then
now
I
it's
got
back
it
to
down to a
watching Food
management.
Network.
Yeah, that's right.
But actually making money.
Got it down to a manageable, 40 hours a week or so.
That's cool.
So
All right.
yeah.
So then
We
things
sold
change.
it.
All right. You're like, this is too comfortable.
In January. Well, there are extenuating circumstances around it. Not extenuating, but we started to look at like our long-term succession planning.
Between you and the partners?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And so we had a management team, talked to the management team to see if anyone was interested in potentially taking over the firm. Mm-hmm. They weren't.
Oh, okay.
So we didn't, it wasn't an important thing to us, but we wanted to know our roadmap. So, when I hit like 60, we were going to start really thinking about how we're going to have a succession plan for the firm. But so private equity started coming into the accounting world probably 4 years ago or so.
They're hitting a lot of industries.
Oh, it's happening everywhere.
Yeah.
Even the bigs like Baker Tilly took on private equity money. And so ironically, we started getting calls like random, out of the blue, people looking to do roll-ups, looking to buy just your firm, to merge and blah, blah, blah. So started fielding those calls once we knew the management team wasn't interested. And to be honest, it's more that the price was right. And I felt like we had grown it to a spot where we were probably going to have to invest some more money into the firm and technology to really keep it growing.
Okay.
And with a lot of the changes going on with AI and those kinds of things, thought, you know what?
Let's get a little bit of a minefield going on.
Yeah. Well, and private equity has just raised prices.
Yeah.
So in general, the multiples were 0.8 to 1.2, and they went up probably 25 to 50%, depending on the size of the firm and all that fun stuff. And so from a timing standpoint, I'm not sure we could have made it any better.
No, that's fair. That's fair. When they start throwing carrots like that in front of you,
yeah.
you're like,
yep. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
So it's been great. We had a couple moved here from California, bought the firm, and they're running it now.
That is cool. All right.
So yeah. And then if you want me to just keep going.
Keep going, man.
So
the entrepreneurial story here.
A lot of these things. So Banana VoIP was the next company that we started during the CPA firm years, the first CPA firm years.
Yeah.
So my bill for my VoIP services was a lot per month. And I went to my IT firm and I'm like, how much would it cost to just do it ourselves?
Yeah, right.
So we said, sure, the server wouldn't cost that much. And they could do all the plumbing of the software and all that fun stuff. So we partnered up with them, 50/50 owners, with our Javis Industries is the name of the company that we partnered with. And so, of course, over a beer or two, we came up with the name Banana VoIP.
Nice.
And we went from there.
That is awesome.
Yeah, so the VoIP company, that hasn't grown as much, but it's...
Is there a sales force, or is it kind of just it's there, and if people ask about it?
There's a lot of synergies with the clients.
Okay.
Between they work with a lot of small businesses, and we work with a lot of small businesses, so that's mainly how we get them.
No, I get it, because with calls on call, initially the first 6-7 years, it was there. My business partner has her other thing, I had my other thing, and between our clients, if we're just like, hey, you need someone to answer your phones, we got this business. Yay or nay, whatever, and move on with your life. And it's just kind of there until we started dedicating time to it.
Yep. No, that's very true. I think if we would dedicate more time to selling Banana VoIP, I think we could do a pretty good job with it, because from a pricing standpoint, it's pretty reasonable. And we have the local presence, so the IT firm can go out to the spot and make sure that the VoIP is going to work, or the voice over internet protocol will work there with their internet connection and all that stuff. So it's nice having them around to take care of the technical side of it.
Yeah, I get it.
And then I don't have to worry about it.
So somebody else's problem.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then sustainable HR.
So, well, there's another one in there.
Oh, there's another one.
Yes. It was called Megalodon Insurance Systems.
Oh, I didn't even know about that one.
The large extinct shark.
Okay.
Now the company is also extinct.
All right. Well, it's a thing.
We shouldn't have named it that. Probably was the name problem.
Because no one could spell it?
Yes. They're like, Megalodon? Yeah. So that was, we actually raised money for that one.
Really?
So just a small private placement.
Okay.
But we raised around $400,000 for that one, and obviously we put in our money too from the CPA firm, and we had a co-founder for it. So basically what Megalodon did was underwriting and claim system for insurance companies, property and casualty insurance companies.
I don't even know how you break into that industry.
Well, I had been in the insurance industry. Actually, the co-founder was the CEO of Physicians Insurance Company, Wisconsin, which is where I
gotcha.
work.
Okay. So you had a foot in the door somewhere. Yeah,
and with the CPA firm, I did a lot of work with insurance companies.
Okay.
So we decided there's not a good market or a good product out there for small insurance companies, and that was our thesis.
Okay.
What we didn't realize is how hard it is to get insurance companies to change. And how slow they move.
Very, I imagine.
Very slow, yes. And so we unfortunately struggled, never were able to get a client on the system. Never won, no.
Get off the ground.
No, so we lasted about 2 years, I think. We were
2
very
years
close.
without a client?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
The sales cycle is very long.
All right.
Very, very long.
You're like, we got irons in the fire, man.
So yeah, that one was a failure. I learned a lot from it. I learned I'd never want to raise money again. That's not fun. I don't like it.
Because I imagine you get phone calls every month saying, hey.
No, I mean, most of them were friends and family. So
Okay.
We didn't have that kind of issue. And not, all the people that did give money, we knew that it wasn't their life savings that they were giving us.
Gotcha,
So it wasn't as that big of a deal.
Didn't make Thanksgiving dinner challenging?
No. But yeah, it was an interesting thing. And as I said, I don't envy founders who have to go out and raise money. It's not, that's not fun.
So tell me about pulling the plug on that. Who was the one that's like, hey?
We ran out of money.
Oh, like literally?
Yes.
Bank is empty.
Yeah, we had spent as much as we wanted to, and we had spent the money from the investors and just shut it down. So they got a nice capital loss for that year, and we washed our hands and went. So
just imagine that email.
Yes.
Good tidings.
Yes.
Lucky for you.
you get a write-off.
Yeah, all right.
So that was the next one.
All right.
Then we started Sustainable HR at the time.
Okay.
Mainly because I didn't want to do HR for the firm. And so I'm like, well, what if I could hire someone and have them work with our clients too?
Yeah.
And fortunately, it did work fairly well. The clients did like the service, and I didn't have to do as much HR. And so that was kind of the genesis of Sustainable HR PEO.
Okay.
Which basically we started 5 years ago. Yeah, 5 years ago now. Really didn't get it going until about a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Oh, wow, okay.
Because we wanted to take it slow, and make sure we had systems in place and were able to service clients. And quite frankly, I knew what a PEO was, but I didn't know a lot about the business. But it's
PEO stands for, help me.
Professional Employer Organization.
Okay.
So basically what we do is we will employ the people at the company. So let's say you have company X.
Yeah.
We would do the W-2s, the payroll. They would be on our benefits, but they would maintain the management aspect of working with their employees.
Okay.
And we provide some light HR with it, handbooks and onboarding, offboarding, and then we do benefits too.
So the main goal was to get those employees that maybe in a smaller company get them benefits.
So it's tough to get health insurance when you only have like one or two people.
Very tough.
That want to be on the health insurance. So we have, we'll be close to like 900 employees that work for us essentially. And basically we charge a per month fee for each employee, whether in different pricing for if they're full-time or part-time. And that's the professional employer organization aspect of it, or PEO. We also do administrative services only, which, let me say this. On the PEO side, you also get the HR tech. So the paperless onboarding, paperless offboarding. The employees get to sign up for their benefits online. We do the payroll and all that fun stuff, take care of all the state and federal filings. We have the unemployment rate for us. So if you have a higher unemployment rate, you can save money on unemployment too.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Sure. Workers' comp, obviously you have to have that to employ people in Wisconsin. So we work with a broker to get the workers' comp insurance, and we have some other liability insurance in case an employee sues, that kind of stuff. And then we do administrative services only, or ASO, which is where the company would get access to our technology and some support with the technology from us. And then we also do the payroll and all the state and federal filings for them, but they're not on our benefits.
Okay.
They can administer their benefits with the online portal that we have, but they would not be on our benefits.
Got it. All right.
And then we just do HR consulting.
Is this nationwide, or is it specifically in Wisconsin?
We're in I think close to 30 states now.
Okay.
With various employees.
I asked because we were using the PEO for a long while, and then COVID happened, and then we hired an employee out of California.
Oh, God.
And then our PEO said, nope. Funny story, no California.
Yep.
And me, being just a guy that thinks we're in a country that's, like, happens to have states, but there's no borders on those states, right? You just drive wherever. I can fly to California, no problem. And I'm like, what do you mean we can't hire in California? And they're like, no, you don't get it. California is a whole nother country as far as HR is concerned.
It's very friendly to employees in California. We do have several employees in California with the PEO. We used to have an employee with the CPA firm in California too.
Yeah, so I felt so bad because I had to call that woman back and be like, hey, funny story. I'm told that we can't hire you. And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, are you okay? And she's like, you're like the 10th person to tell me.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
So the work from home thing in California, I don't know if that's only for industries in California or, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe people just use a Wyoming mailbox or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
But whatever it is.
I mean, California hasn't been bad as far as we've been concerned, but we haven't had many true employee problems with California employees.
Gotcha.
So.
Okay. Well, I'm sure she was nice as a person, but
Yeah.
I was just told by the PEO company, we don't even service California.
Some don't want to mess around with it. We do because we want our clients to be happy, right?
All right. Well, yeah, my PEO company didn't.
Once you have one employee in California, you might as well have a couple of.
So maybe that was the thing, right? Because we were one. I didn't know she was going to be part-time or full-time. That was a long time ago.
Yep.
Whatever.
Yep.
It's one of those, they're just like, nope. I think they gave me a list. I want to say 9 or 12 states where they just...
9 or 12, huh?
It was definitely more than one. And it made me kind of laugh, cry. Because I'm like, you know when a good time would have been to give me that list?
Before he started?
Before I started looking all over the country for employees. Like, maybe give me a little bit of a heads up.
Yeah. Yep.
But whatever.
No, that makes sense.
Details.
Yeah.
Right?
We would do business, I think, in pretty much every state.
Okay.
There's no no-nos. I know there are some states, though, where PEOs either aren't allowed to be there or they can only do certain things in those states.
Okay. I'm learning Ohio is a pain, Pennsylvania is a pain, because you get these little...
New York,
okay.
Yeah.
We have had employees in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know about, I don't know if they call them parishes, but individual parishes like a county.
That's Louisiana.
Has their
parishes.
tax.
Oh, yeah.
And to figure out whatever you're supposed to pay and where you're supposed to pay, it must be just some guy in some backwoods shack that's open every second Tuesday on the full moon or something like that. So
we have two of those people.
We just want the number, man, and then the address for where we're supposed to send this report, and just getting that information.
Oh, sure. Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Yeah. Like how you're making it very difficult to pay you. Very difficult.
Yeah.
But yay.
it's a pain in the butt.
All right.
Needless to say, the old CPA firm did more than 400 payrolls. So.
Wow. Okay. So you had a little bit of experience under your belt.
Yeah. From a payroll standpoint, we were pretty comfortable with it.
Okay.
So so that company when we started growing significantly, we brought on a new guy, a president, Jason Wilborn, and he was with another PEO here in town.
Gotcha.
So he knew the industry very well, and that's when we really started to take off.
All right.
So we're up to, I think we have 7 employees.
Nice.
One of which lives in Georgia.
All right. Well.
So that's been growing, and we've been investing in that business because we want to make it a good-sized company and hopefully be bigger than the CPA firm was at some point. So, yeah.
So are private equity companies chasing after payroll?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's what happened to the other one here in town.
Ah, got it. Okay.
Yeah, the QTI one was acquired by private equity, and then it was bought by another private equity.
Interesting. So I don't understand that world.
Yes.
I mean, in the end, their money's green, so they want to buy your business and rock and roll. There you go. But why? Why are they so prevalent?
So there's a couple of things going on from what I understand. Number one, there's just a lot of money. Okay. So private equity has grown significantly in the past 5-10 years, and a lot of money's going into it. Once the baby boomers start retiring, or significantly retiring, maybe that'll slow down. But there's just a lot of money. And number two, they like recurring revenue.
All right.
And so that's why they like accounting firms right now.
Okay.
And so that's, I think, the primary driver. You look at they're buying payroll companies, they're buying PEOs, they're buying, all kinds. Insurance agencies are really on the radar right now. Investment managers, are on the.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. They're buying up those too. Veterinarians are very popular right now.
I'm learning, or have learned that, because we're doing phone answering for a lot of veterinary clinics.
Yep.
And when you're cold calling, you have to find the ones that are not owned
Yep.
by some big, huge corporation thing, because then the decision timeline is
Oh yeah.
just way too long
Forever.
to deal with. Yeah.
Yeah. We worked on probably 3 different sales of vets over the past probably 4 years.
Okay.
So yeah, it's very popular right now, and it's just because they got so much money.
So who, like when you say private equity, it's just people with cash
Yeah. So
that don't want to invest in stocks or real estate or something like that?
correct.
What is the attraction to random small businesses?
They think they can get a better return than the stock market.
All right.
That's the premise. So some of them, it depends, right? There's the huge ones, there's smaller ones. Like the people that bought us had what they call a search fund, where they raise money from investors. They go out and look for a company, and that's, I wouldn't call it private equity, but it was more friends and family type money, from what I understand.
Okay.
But then you have the larger, more formalized ones, where they're looking, they won't look at anything under $10 or $20 million in revenue.
Got it. Okay.
And those, so some of them do what they call roll-ups, right? So like with the vets, they're trying to roll them up. They're going to try and drive more revenue through them. They're going to cut expenses because they shouldn't need, HR. They shouldn't need, an accountant, right? They should have back end. So consolidating systems and those kinds of things.
All right.
So when you get into the bigger ones, that's what they're doing. And so you see that. So it's really all over the board. I mean, there's smaller ones. There's a couple in Madison that are smaller ones. One's looking at primarily manufacturing type companies.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Others do, well, I guess there's really, I don't know how many there are in Madison. I'm sure there's more than just that. But yeah, they're looking for something real particular.
Okay. I mentioned they're under the radar a little bit because they don't necessarily want to be known or seen.
Yep. But yeah, I started getting calls not just for the firm, but for my clients.
Wow.
They wanted, do you have any clients for sale? And they're always looking for something particular, from a size standpoint, an industry standpoint.
Interesting.
So yeah.
So your clients in XYZ industry want to acquire to grow their business.
Yeah, they want to buy my clients. Oh. So that's why they're calling me, because they know either attorneys or lawyers usually are the hub for that kind of stuff. So what they were looking for is any of our clients that are looking to sell.
Interesting.
So yeah, it's been a fascinating ride from that standpoint, understanding how big the impact of private equity has been on a lot of different industries.
I can remember during the pandemic, like 20 to 22, we were getting letters, phone calls, or emails with people kicking tires about buying the call answering service.
Yep.
I want to say for a little while, it was at least one every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, what in the world is going on here? And now I wouldn't say that's dried up, but it's definitely less.
Yes.
Which, whatever. I mean, I chatted with a few of them, and it was kind of like, I still feel like there's more milk out of this cow, so I'm going to keep.
Yeah, we talked to probably 5 or 6 different parties during the process.
Wow.
And they all had different models.
Okay.
So some were other accounting firms that wanted to buy, they're looking to acquire. Another one had an interesting model where they just buy the firm and let you run it.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And
so then you're an employee?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was an interesting one. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
And that you can sell or merge if you want to.
All right.
And so that we ended up with these guys because it was a family, and we just liked that part of it better.
Yeah, if it worked out, it's all good.
Yeah.
Tell me about the tax strategy thing that you have going on
so
now.
Palladium Tax Advisors, CPA.
All right.
Just started it recently. We're doing a recurring revenue model, shall we call it?
Nice, all right.
More of a subscription model.
Sure.
So one of the things I saw with clients and other CPA firms is they just can't take the time to sit down with their clients and actually do tax planning, ask about their long-term goals, and understanding, from that standpoint, what can we do to save you taxes? And so we are doing the monthly or quarterly meetings in general with each individual client, doing tax planning at least once a year, especially for the business owners, looking for opportunities in that area. Already saved one $5,000.
Nice. All right.
In taxes. So that's kind of the goal. We just want to be much more hands-on with people. And so far, we've had pretty good response to it. Working primarily with investment advisors and their clients. Our minimum is about $100 a month.
Okay.
And so depending on complexity,
Sure.
it could go up to $500,000, $2,000 a month, depending on how many businesses there are and how complex things are. But yeah, one of the things at the old firm and all the potential clients that I had talked to that was their main complaint is that their CPA never has time for them.
Huge. Yeah, that was a huge complaint that I had.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that tax strategy, tax planning was different than doing my taxes.
Yep.
I assumed that was all the same ball of wax.
Yep.
And so I assumed that was happening.
Yep.
And I was very wrong. Very, very wrong.
Yep.
And then after talking to other business owners, they're like, yeah, same thing.
Yep.
So they just don't know where to go to say, like, hey, we have, I don't know, millions of pages of tax code.
Yeah,
my tax guy fills in my numbers in his little program. I don't know, maybe he's using whatever, TurboTax or something like that. Spitting out what I owe and
there you go.
End of transaction.
Well, that's the reality, right? Because they don't charge enough in order to be able to spend the time with the client.
It wasn't even an option, though, right? They didn't say, like, hey.
A lot of people don't even bother doing it, right? Yeah. It's a pure, I call them churn and burn shops, where they're just cranking out as many 1040s and business returns as they can. But that's the problem, right? If you have all these returns you got to get done, you don't have time to do the other stuff that's actually valuable to the client. I mean, quite frankly, compliance, while it's necessary, isn't where you actually can help someone save money.
Right.
And so that's why the tax planning aspect of it, I have software that does it. And then it's tweaking it and doing different scenarios and looking at the overall situation that the client has.
Nice.
So, it's exciting to be at the startup phase. And, the reality is I started the old firm in 2007. It gets to a size where you can't control things. You can't make big changes because it's just hard, especially when you're working with accountants. They don't like change. And so being able to build this from the ground up is pretty exciting for me.
It's the honeymoon phase of entrepreneurship, right?
That's exactly right.
I always joke it's like a relationship that you can have more than one relationship and the first relationship doesn't get pissed. And you can leave a relationship that's not working without a whole lot of court fiasco.
Yep.
And you can go through the honeymoon phase again. It's kind of fun.
It is.
Yeah,
the startup phase is the fun part. The startup phase is the fun part. It's when you have to do real work that.
Right. We got to go away from just watching the Food Network and do real
That's
work.
right. Actually do work.
Oh, that's awesome.
So,
Mike, where can people find you?
They can find me at mcolath at Palladium, Palladium, CPA.com.
Nice.
And that name was actually made by my wife.
All right.
Because I was trying to think of what to name the company. And I woke up the next morning and she had sent me an email that said, Palladium. And I'm like, what is palladium? It is very expensive, let me tell you that.
All right.
It's a rare metal.
Okay.
That is used in a lot of different stuff. I didn't realize all the different applications, from computer stuff to just whatever. It's in a lot of different products. So but it's very expensive. My original thought was I was going to buy every employee some Palladium until I saw what the prices were.
This is tinfoil. It's close enough.
That's right. So, and they don't sell it at Costco for some reason.
No. We just can't get a pallet of this.
That's right. That's right.
Awesome. Well, Mike, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, sir.
This has been Authentic Business Adventures, the business program that brings you the struggle stories and triumphant successes of business owners across the land. Downloadable audio episodes can be found in the podcast link at drawincustomers.com. We are locally underwritten by the Bank of Sun Prairie. If you'd like to, it would make a big deal. It'd be helpful. Give it a big old thumbs up, subscribe, and of course, share it with your entrepreneurial friends, especially those friends that perhaps have some tax challenges.
That's right.
Some HR challenges, some voice over IP challenges, or just like the stories of all those entrepreneurs that start many businesses just for the love of the game. I think that's safe to say, right?
That is right.
Past episodes can be found morning, noon, and night at the podcast link, found at drawincustomers.com. I already said that, but I'll say it again. It's that important. Thank you for joining us. We will see you next week. I want you to stay awesome, and if you do nothing else, enjoy your business.